Good morning and welcome to my video. Today's video is about my custom bike build. What we're aiming to do is take a 1990s mountain bike and convert it into a modern day backpacking bike with an e-bike twist. Today's modifications are going to be as follows. We're going to replace the two old 1990s mountain bike wheels with two modern day 36 spoke heavy duty mountain bike wheels to take the weight of backpacking and extra weight of the backpacking packs. The second modification is going to be fitting a Shimano Deore 10-speed gear set. Please don't miss the equipment test and the speed test at the end of the video, where I actually have to slow down to the speed of the cars. This bike really flies. Okay, so let me take you through our base project vehicle. This bicycle is made by Giant. It's a bicycle from the 90s. Giant is a company actually from Taiwan, but they have factories in Hungary and also in Holland. This particular model, I suspect, was made in a factory in Holland. It's called a Willy van Gent, which sort of gives it away. The bike is a good base vehicle for building a project because it's a good solid construction, well made. Now the original bike came more or less as you see it now. I've changed the tyres, I've changed the seat, I've changed the handlebars, but they're the same as the original ones. It's just that the original ones were a bit tatty. And of course, I've added the Barfang 750 watt e-bike conversion kit. The Barfang comes with the 800S display. This is a black and white display. I went for the black and white one because here in Spain the sun's out, and I've found in the past that colour displays aren't quite as good as black and white ones in bright sunlight. I've got my camera gubbins here as well. I've also got an extended instrument mount here, which is actually a battery backup as well, so it's a power pack, so I can recharge cameras and things off this. The reason I've got this on here is because I couldn't mount this display and the handlebar bag. The mounts ended up being in the same position, and I wanted the handlebar bag, a particular handlebar bag that I liked, so I had to make another arrangement, and this was the solution. Also, what's been changed is the old brake levers and gear shifters, which were here. They were like integrated into one. I actually love them, they work really well, but unfortunately they had to go because I needed to fit the Barfang brakes, because they've got the brake switch sensor in it to shut off the motor when you pull the brakes on. Also meant that I had to upgrade this switch here for another Shimano, I don't know if you call them index gears or whatever. I had to upgrade that and put that on. This today will be coming off, and this is going to be put to one side for the modifications on Anthea's commuter bike. That's a video for another day. Okay, so that's a bit of background on it. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing an upgrade to the wheels and to the gear shift. If you've seen a previous video of me going through the foundry trails in Billericus, you may have heard me voice my concern that I'm running a 750 watt motor on 1990s wheel bearings and wheels, and on the original derailleur and powertrain. A little bit concerning, you know. I don't really go past 20 kilometres an hour with this. I don't feel I need to, but it will do 50. And if I'm doing 50 kilometres an hour on a bicycle, I really want to have some decent wheels and decent drive system. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take the wheels off and fit some new mountain bike wheels I'll source from the UK. They're 36 spoke. They've got reinforced brake rims around here, and they're specifically made for heavy mountain bike use. So that's going to be the first job. The second job is we're going to change completely the drive chain. I've ordered a Derailleur, a Shimano Deore gear set, and we're going to swap out the Cassette here for a 10-speed, the Derailleur. We've got a new chain, and we've also then got a new 10-speed shift going on up on the top here. So that's the plan for today. So we'll see how we get on. Okay, so these are the wheels. What you get for the money is you get your wheel with your 36 spokes. You get quick release shaft here, two of them, and you've got the reinforced braking rim for V-brakes. These two wheels I purchased from the UK, eBay they were, from a company, Bankrupt Bikes, no affiliation. Even with the tariffs, and yes, we do get charged tariffs over here, contrary to what they're saying on the blogs. Even with the tariffs, because of Brexit, they still worked out cheaper from even getting them on somewhere like AliExpress. They have Shimano, got the Shimano hubs as well, so I was quite impressed with the price and the quality on them. Okay, moving on. I got the this kit from AliExpress. This was just over €90, I think. No affiliation again. This is 11 to 46. Is it 11 there? 46 there. You got the chain. I asked them for a longer chain if possible, because what I plan to do is put a 52 tooth cog on the front, because when I do use the motor at high speed, it's running away with me. I can't paddle fast enough to keep up with it, so I'm going to put the biggest cog I can on the front. And then you get the derailleur, and then I've also bought the gear shift with the window because I'm not that great a cyclist. So okay, the cassette I agonised over, because obviously when I fitted the bar-thong motor on the front, I lost two cogs, basically 14 gears. Now obviously when you've got a 21 speed bicycle, a lot of those gears do sort of overlap. They're more or less the same, because obviously one different cog at the front, different cog at the back. They can often work out the same, the gears, so I haven't really lost that much. So I agonised over what size cassette I was going to get, and what I ended up doing in the end was working out the difference of teeth between the original small cog on the front and the large cog on the back, the lowest gear, and then I did the same with the 52 teeth cog on the front and the 46 on the back. Obviously there's 6 teeth difference, and that's exactly what the difference was with the original gear system on the lowest gear. I hope I've done my figures right, because I'm no expert on it. It could be complete garbage what I've done, and it may not work out at all. But I'm thinking probably if the difference in teeth is the same, we should more or less have the same gears. Because heaven forbid I run out of battery on some hills and I have to pedal myself, because it'll probably kill me. Okay, so first job I think is what we're going to do is we're going to try and fit the cassette onto the wheel. I've never done this before, but I've had a quick go off camera and it seems pretty self-explanatory. There's a series of teeth, I don't know if you can see on the camera. One of them is slightly smaller than the others. And on the cassette, there's a series of teeth, and also one of them is smaller than the other. So that's pretty much self-explanatory there. So I'll line that up. There you go, that slot's straight on. This next one goes on with the fatter bit pointing down. Again, line up the, where are we? The small groove there. There we go. And then the final one, the smaller one, same again. Small groove lined up and slot that on. And that seems to be job done. So now, looks like we've just got a retaining nut that slides on there, and I did actually buy a special tool in a kit to put that on a while back. So I'm going to try to screw that on now. Okay, that's done. I'll just tweak that up. That was easy. A bit too easy, I'm starting to worry. Okay, so I found a special tool to tweak up the cassette. It's a cheap jobbo from Amazon that I bought. I only bought cheap because I'm probably only likely to use it a couple of times in my lifetime, so I didn't see the point in spending a lot of money on it. Now, I don't doubt for a second you're meant to have some special torque setting for this. If it's a cylinder head on a car, or maybe you know, an exhaust manifold on a vehicle that gets regular hot cold and product distortion, I would be tempted, yes, to definitely use a torque wrench. But on something like this, I think I've got enough experience with vehicles to know what's tight enough and what's not. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, that's tight enough. Spins freely. Okay, on to the next stage. Okay, so what I'm going to do before I get this bike up on the bench and try and avoid the up, down, and bike on the bench, bike off the bench. I'm going to do a little bit down at ground level first. I'm going to take the gear shifter off, and I think I'm going to remove the rear wheel so I could change the tyre first up on the bench before I finally put it back on and lift it up onto the bench, the whole bicycle. Okay, so first I'm going to remove this crimped wire end. There you go. Move the locking up from the cable. Pull the cable out. As easy as that. Then, around the other side. Quick release, power off. Okay. I forgot to release the brakes here, don't you forget that. Okay, so I've released the brake cable here to get the brakes off the wheel, and hopefully it should slide out. There we go, as easy as that. Okay, last thing, remove the end cap from the end of this bar, and I'm going to remove this gear shift. This is going to go on to another project on Anthea's bike, where I'm increasing it from a 250 watt motor to a 500 watt motor, and from a 6p to a 7 speed. That's just a simple, in this case, a Cassette screw underneath. There we go, I'll move off. Job done. Okay, so first job, I'm going to remove the tyre from the old wheel. Okay, and carefully try and remove the tyre. Try not to nick the inner tube, even though I am going to change the inner tube because this is the old original one. I've already changed it on the front, but I think it's best I'll change the back one as well whilst it's off. But I don't want to do any necessary damage. If I can save this inner tube for a spare, then I will do. Okay, job done. So remove the old inner tube. Doesn't look bad, that's going to be a spare. We'll carry that with us in case we have a puncture. And then I've got the new one. Just got this from Decathlon the other day, and it matches the one that I fitted in the front. So I've blown it up a little bit just so it goes on a bit easier, stays in the tyre, and less chance of it actually getting pinched. I've had a look at these tyres. I don't know if anybody watching can correct me or advise me on this, but unlike motorcycle tyres or car tyres, there's no directional arrow on it as far as I can see. So it doesn't really look like it matters which way they go on. I don't know, but I'm going to just put it on as it was before. May look like I'm working a bit cack-handed here, but I'm trying to do it so you can actually see on the camera. Yeah, that's on. At the valve side. Valve's lined up straight. Again, cack-handed for the camera. Turn it back. And this is just push on these tyres normally. Okay, so that's done. I'm going to go into the workshop, get some air into it. I normally put my tyres about 40 psi, that sort of mixed road and trail use. My bike with me on it and kit is about 150 kilos. That seems to work quite well for me. Okay, that's the tyre inflated. Quick look at the tolerances here on the tyre, and it's between 30 and 55 psi. We're on 40. Seems to work for me. If anybody out there knows any better and knows more about me than bikes, which won't be hard, please let me know in the comments. Okay, so now we'll go over and put this back on the bicycle. Okay, so I'm just fitting the quick release bar. Yeah, locking off bar there, spring, fat end against there, thin end against the wheel. Slide through, other spring on, thin end against the wheel, fat end against the nut. There we have it, over to the bicycle. Okay, so over back to the bike, back on with the wheel. I'm not going to fit the chain or anything on it, I'm just going to get it on so I can wheel the bike about and then get the bike up onto the table. And there we have it. Okay, so now I'm going to move the bike up onto the bench. Okay, so now we're going to change the derailleur. I'm going to take the chain off. I'm not even going to bother looking for a split link or splitting it with a chain splitter. It's old, it's never going to get used again, so we're going to do it the quick way. There we go. Way. This here is actually the shift sensor. The cable runs through this. It's part of the kit for the motor, and what happens is when the cable moves through this, it momentarily cuts the motor off, so you haven't got the motor grinding all your chain on your gears. This was actually an aftermarket device, didn't come with the kit originally, but I found I needed it pretty quickly. Okay, so Allen key, Allen bolt, the old derailleur off, and then hopefully these will be the same threads. Same threads, same size bolt, brilliant. New derailleur on. Okay, and that doesn't look right. Loosen up. Okay, it looks like that's where it wants to go, but I'm not sure if it's right. This looks awfully close here to the gears, but I'll put it on loose for now, and then when I put everything else together, hopefully all will become clear. Okay, so that's the new derailleur inner cable fed back through, ready to go onto the new derailleur. Derailleur, I don't know what you call it, different languages. A bit of a problem trying to get this through underneath because the motor's in the way. I couldn't show you on camera, I could barely see myself with my own eyes, so eventually managed to get the cable to go into the little channel in between the motor and the frame and back through here. So now I'm going to get crack on and see if I can get the chain fitted. Okay, so it appears where I originally had the derailleur fixed in, where it wanted to go or felt like it wanted to go, was okay. My concerns that this lever around here, I can get it in the shot better, this lever here was going to catch on here. There's no concerns there really, because when you pull the cable to use that top gear, you can see it moves right the way out the way. The only thing is I'm not going to be able to do, this is my 44-2 front sprocket. I was going to fit the 52, but as you can see, we're sort of stretching the chain to as far as it wants to go there. So I'm going to stick with the 44 for the time being and see how I go on. So looks like I'm going to have to remove this derailleur guard, unfortunately, but it's not pretty, but it does the job. I suspect I'm not the first person to have this problem. No doubt they do an aftermarket part that can go on afterwards. But for now, I'll take this off so I can get this cable and this sensor in and redirect that. Okay, so that's the derailleur guard out the way. I'll loosely put the cable in. You can see it's not that brilliant. It's too long, so I think I'm probably going to have to take a little piece out of this section here and another piece out of this section to shorten it, to try and get this sensor to sort of lay in there. Okay, so I'll do that and then I'll bring you back in. Okay, so I've got the cable shortened out. What I did is I gradually cut it off little piece by little piece rather than one big chunk at a time. I could always cut more off, but I can't put it back on again. Not completely happy with it. I would have rather it was sort of down here under the nut, but it's just going to be too tight a bend there, so I'll let it sit there over the nut and just have the more of a gentle bend there. That's about as good as it's going to get. Not sure if I manage to get an aftermarket guard to go over there. If I can't, I'll probably just have to knock one up myself. But for the time being, I think that's going to do us. So I'll just connect the cable around here on the other end, and then we'll start testing it. Okay, so I think I've got as far as I can with that for the time being. I'm going to have to reroute this the gear shift cable for the electric motor somewhere else. No doubt the derailleur is going to need adjusting up and tweaking up, but I'll do that when I've had a ride on it. Make sure all the cables are stretched out where they want to be and that, and I'll adjust that later. So for now, I've strapped down the wheel tight to the table here to lift the front wheel off the bench. I'm going to change the front wheel now, and then I'll bring it back in. Okay, so that's the front wheel on. I didn't bother filming that or giving you a comment on that. It's a exact copy of what I did with the back wheel, so I didn't want to bore you with it all over again. Quite happy with how the wheels look. They're quite nice. Eventually, when I've finished doing all the alterations to the bike, because I'm going to be setting it up for bike packing, I'm going to take it all apart, send it off to have it grip blasted, and the frame re-powder coated black. So I'd like to keep. Quite like that you've got these silver. Kept these silver features here. I'm going to keep these here just to give the matte black a bit of contrast. And what I shall probably do as well is switch these black wheel tensioners, quick release wheel tensioners, back to the chrome ones as well, just so that you've got a bit of silver here and there, contrasting the matte black powder coated frame. Okay, so now we're on to fitting the gear changer at the top. It looks like they've gone for some new innovative design, which is all well and good, probably will work better, but it's going to screw me up a bit. I think how I've got all my front foot, all my brake levers, my bell, all my other stuff up there, I've got a feeling it's going to screw me up. I'm going to have to do some major rearranging. But anyway, I'll get it back down off the table. I think I'm probably going to get inside because it's the sun's coming round. We're at the end of April, but we're having a few days of sort of 30s, 30 plus, which is why I've dropped back onto little projects in the shade rather than working down the farm. So we'll get this inside, and then I'll bring you back in then. Okay, so last night I didn't actually bother filming the changing rounds of the setup on the handlebars. The reason being is I favour this the Touring Butterfly handlebar setup, but most people don't. It's not a normal setup, so how I did it on my handlebars probably wouldn't have been a great deal of use to anybody else, you know, trying to put the setup on a standard set of handlebars. Anyway, in the end, like I said previously, this is the new shifter. It's an unusual design compared to the ones I've had in the past, and actually took some fitting, a lot of swapping around. Now it's on, actually it does seem to be quite good. It looks like now when I've got my hand here, the upshift or down to up to a lower gear is on my thumb, and then just to go back down to the higher gears again, the smaller cogs, I just have to flick with my finger. So it does, even though it's been a pain in the backside sorting it, I think in the long run it's going to work out better. Okay, so what happened in the end is I had to swap, after swapping it around several times backwards and forwards, I was happy. I ended up having to swap the bell over for the thumb throttle. I mean, I prefer, because I ride a lot of motorcycles, or I've in the past, prefer the throttle to be on the right hand. It's just what I'm used to. But to be honest, I only really use the thumb throttle for pulling away on places like on slopes. It's super handy for when you're pulling away on a slope, whereas you'd normally try and pedal and you'd have that little wobble when you first start and then at risk of falling off. You could just sit on the bike on the slope, put the thumb throttle off to get you started, and then start pedaling. That's only really the only time I use it. So it's no great disaster that I've got it on the left here next to my mode up and down for my pedal assist settings, and the bell again then on the right here, which is okay there. It's a little bit in the way of the controllers, and I'd like to do away with it, but the trouble is when I'm biking in sort of bicycle passing touristy areas, people come on a holiday and they seem to switch their brains off and they just sort of wander onto the bicycle path in front of you, and I've had quite a few near misses, which is what actually made me buy a bell, just to give that little warning to sort of pull your head out your backside and look where you're going. So anyway, this is all sorted. we're all ready for a test. I'll probably have to move them around a little bit once I'm sat on the bike to check, you know, that they're where I want them to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly set up the rear derailleur and everything on the back, and tweak that a little bit, and then we'll get on our way and we'll do the good bit, the actual test ride. Okay, so we're all ready to go here. What I've done is I've adjusted the derailleur clearance screw here so that when it's in the lowest gear, the biggest cog, the derailleur inside here clears and doesn't hit the cog. I've left about you need about 5-6 millimeters between there, so that's right on there. And then what I've done is I've used the low and the high screws to adjust the derailleur so that it doesn't fall into the spokes or fall between the smallest cog and the frame. I've had a few goes at it, and I think I'm about there for it and just about ready for a test ride. Okay, that's the bench test done, so we'll take it for a ride and see how it actually works in real life situation. I'll just quickly nip and get the sports camera bar on and we'll go for a ride. Okay, so first we're just going to start flicking back through the gears, make sure they're changing. At the minute they're changing very smoothly. It's always a fear when you do an upgrade that you're gonna spend all that money and it's not quite going to be as good as it was before, or certainly, you know, no better than before. It can be a real disappointment. But straight away, these gears are great on the thumb here, thumb and finger. They're a lot better and well thought out than the previous ones that I've used. Okay, so in a minute what we'll do is we'll do a test to actually see how fast we can actually get with this on Pedal Assist 9 with all the new kit in. Like I said, I normally don't really go much more than 20 kilometers an hour. If I want to do 50, I'll get on the motorbike. Normally I like to use it on the bicycle about 20 kilometers an hour because it's fast enough to take in more sights and cover more ground, but it's still slow enough so that you can actually see the scenery without having to watch the road all the time and see what's going on. You can take the time to look around. Okay, so straight away also it feels, for the new wheels on new bearings, it didn't feel bad before, but it definitely feels a lot tighter, a lot more sure-footed. It's yeah, there's definitely a difference. Okay, that's picked things up a bit. Got a little bit of a headwind, you probably hear it on the camera. Okay, it's fast. Oh, and it's still pulling away as well, Christ. Let's get up the top of this hill and we'll try it along straight flat, see what we get. I'm still not in top gear on the cassette yet. Okay, level 7, pump up to level 9, top gear. Here we go. Right, I can see we've got 51, 52, 55. Okay, I'm going to stop there, catching this car up. Okay, so pretty good. And that's with the 44 tooth cog on the front. I've still got a 52 tooth cog that I can put on the front if I want, but to be honest I don't think I'm going to need it. I think that can stay where it is. Okay, so I'm on the way back to the house now. I've turned the pedal assist down to 3, which is what I normally use it on. So even though we've got a 750 watt motor, you're only using a third of the power on pedal assist 3. So in actual fact you're using 250 watts of motor power. That's all I really need. It's just nice to have the extra torque, more importantly than the top speed when you come to steep hills. I'm 54, I'm relatively fit, but if I have a really steep slope in the middle of a bike road, I think that's probably me finished. So it's certainly handy to have the extra torque on the motor to get me over the hard bits so I can enjoy the rest of the bike rides. Okay, so we'll up a bit and get ourselves off home. So, but just want to quickly say something a bit about the bar foam motor. If you've got any doubts about buying this kit, don't. It's absolutely brilliant. It can be expensive, but if you plan it out properly, you can save a lot of money. I bought this in the winter on a Black Friday, and I only paid €480 for it, for the whole kit. That would have normally been 900 if I got off Amazon ES at the same time. So a big saving, and if you time things and plan things, rather than wait until the spring and you want it there and then, you can make a big saving, often up to 50%. Another thing I'd like to say is very impressed with the Deore setup. No clonking, clicking, it just moves smoothly and direct very quickly, very responsive. So again, another good purchase. I wouldn't hesitate in buying again. No, absolutely brilliant. So we come to the end of the video. Hopefully it'll be of some interest and of some use to people who are considering undertaking a similar project. For those of you interested in how the bike performed actually on a real, fairly serious trail, please check out the video above. This video is of a bicycle ride I took through the mining tunnels of Bedar. It also takes you down the edge of the gully, down the Valley of the Wolves, down the Widowmaker Trail. So it's well worth a look. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please press subscribe and like, and I'll see you next time.